Hey everybody, welcome to Dr. Cammy and Karen Go Keto, where Cammy and I are transitioning to a ketogenic slash carnivore lifestyle diet. And we are talking today about some various things, but one thing we wanted to start out with is sugar. Cammy, what do you have to say about sugar?
Hi, good morning, Karen. Good morning, everybody. So, regarding sugar, 75%, at least 75% of Americans, which is, an amazing, a staggering number to me, either overuse sugar or are addicted to sugar. And it's probably closer to addicted to sugar, that high of a number. And so Karen and I were talking about it, and I'm definitely one of those people that really struggles with that addiction. And Karen has her little share of malts and Diet Coke with sweeteners and things in them too. So we wanted to ask you if you think that you are a sugar addict or if you have a history of binge eating. We're asking for people who are listening to comment on that because we're trying to start getting a better feel for what our audience is, who you are, and what you do. So if you could give us a comment about that, we're looking at whether or not you have a history of binge eating or eating disorders or feel like you're addicted to sugar. And the other question that we wanted to ask you was, when we bring up certain food items or talk about certain food items, do you feel triggered by what we're talking about? And should we maybe just say, a sweet item instead of, what specifically it is? We were concerned about that too.
Yeah, I always get a little perturbed when I'm in the bookstore. I'm one of those people that still goes to a bookstore, and I see on the shelves all these cookbooks, especially diet cookbooks, and they focus on the sweets, right? They focus on, even low carb or keto desserts, but it could be a diet that's, a diet cookbook that's, predominantly meat or protein, and yet the cover is always going to be some sort of sweet because I think, with people being addicted to sugar, that's what triggers them to buy it. Like, oh, I could still have my banana cream pie. I'm going to go ahead and get this cookbook because I want to find out how to make my favorite dessert, even if it's something that's in my healthy diet. So, so yeah, that is one of the things because I know I talk about my chocolate malts a lot, and that was my concern. I know when I look at commercials and I see them pouring that Diet Coke on top of the ice, and it just triggers me to want to have that Diet Coke. Or, and who knows? Maybe they're pouring a real Coke, but to me, it calls to me as a Diet Coke. So, our goal is to not have people triggered, and also sometimes, we like to get in depth a little to and let you know that we are struggling too with our addictions. And so we kind of share details on that. But if the details don't seem to support you guys, then tell us not to put in the details and we can skirt the issue. So, what else do we want to talk about today, Cami?
Oh, we were going to talk about maintenance and my concerns and fears around that.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so we were talking earlier this morning. So I'm trying to look at my food diary to see exactly when I had these days that were not so good. I was going to say that were not so sweet, but apparently they were very sweet. Um, and so this was March 18th and March 19th and March 21st. And today was there one more recent than that? I think there's one more recent.
Well, that's 2 weeks ago, basically.
Yeah, not that I documented, not. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is it. I didn't put it in red. I need red on here. March 27. So that's what's today, the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about 11 days ago. Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
sounds right. So I was explaining to Karen this morning when we were off camera that when I eat off plan and I binge for 2 days, and then the next day I binged for 2 days. I was good for a day and then had another day where I did not eat on plan, but did not binge. And then I'm up and running and doing really well right now. I have about 4 or 5 days after a binge where I'm adjusting to getting back on track, and I eat healthy. I feel really good. Well, it takes me about 4 to 5 days to feel good because the inflammation has to work out of the system. The guilt and shame has to work out of the system. Being successful and taking good care of myself for 4 or 5 days makes me feel good. And then I start to get concerned and worried about when my next binge is going to come and when I'm going to mistreat myself again. And so that's a concern that I have. And the other thing I've noticed is that little tiny cravings for sugar will start coming in. I'll have just a couple of seconds where I'm thinking, God, that would taste so good and make me feel good. Or, a Diet Coke as I'm driving past McDonald's sounds so good right now. And then I'm able to go, well, that's not what I'm up to. This is not what I'm doing. I get it out of my mind. But as the days go on, those start to come more and start to come a little stronger. And so I'm just here talking about it to try to think about what I do to prevent binges from happening. Because I would love to have a life where I look back and go, God, remember when I used to binge and we had to talk about it on that channel all the time, on our channel?
Well, I think a couple of things. So, sorry. So you are definitely, saying that there's internal conversation for you, right? Where you're talking to yourself going, "Oh, that sounds really good, but that's not what I'm up to." But by that time, the thoughts already come into your head. So now you're already swimming upstream because the thought's in your head and you are fighting the thought. So the goal would be to not have the thought come into your head at all. And you and I were talking about, because I know that I'm a sugar addict. I cannot uh, not have. It's very difficult for me to say no to sugar. And in my earlier days, I didn't even recognize that eating, you know, basically a whole. Well, I invented the cake diet when I was in law school. So, that was a piece of cake for every meal. If that's not a sugar addict, I don't know what is. So, at any rate, um, and sugar does crazy things to your head. And I'm really excited about reading that book by Dr. Georgia Ede, Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind. I think that that will have a lot of information and insights that will really support you. But I think the most important thing is having the structure in place, a daily structure or an hourly structure. Like I said, set an alarm. It might sound crazy, but set your phone for every hour between, either it sends you a text or an email reminder or whatever that says, "Hey, I'm not eating sugar today." And that'll be 12 or 18 texts that you get or emails that you get that say you're not eating sugar. So why not remind yourself beforehand that you don't do it, and that way you'll have that in place. Because sometimes it might sound silly, but it kind of sounds silly that you might eat 1,200 calories of sugar in one sitting too, right? I mean, that's a reality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
so the other thing that I hear, you start to worry about that. And when, worry is a future event. Worry is what did I read somewhere? Worry is guilt and shame in the future, right? One of something like that. Like guilt guilt and shame are past. Worry is the same thing, only in the future. So and we were talking because you're like, well, you and I just approach things differently, and you wondered why how I approach things, and I'm pragmatic about things, right? Because I only have an older brother, and we were very close, and we grew up in a military family, so we moved around, and we had a lot of coping skills that were built into us. I didn't have six brothers and sisters. There was no drama in our family. I think you like drama. And when you like drama, you like the future story that you can create, right? So living in the future, look at Eckhart Tolle about being in the present, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe those hourly reminders can say, maybe the hourly reminder is not just, hey, don't eat sugar. It's, hey, say your prayer to keep me strong so that I don't eat sugar.
And to
Or
be present, to keep me present.
Right.
Yeah, and, I like when you say you like drama, I'm like, "Oh, I don't like drama." I have to say I don't like drama. But, I think that, and I don't seek drama, but I kind of expect it to be there in my life, just wherever. And so, when you're going around expecting things, you manifest things too. So, yeah.
Yeah. And maybe drama is not the right way to describe it, but when you say I'm already worried about it, it's like that's the military upbringing in me because it's just like, oh, hey kids, we're moving in 3 days, or hey kids, don't get comfortable, we're going to be moving in another 6 months. So it's a different way of looking at worry or future, right? It's like live in the present, live in the now, get what you can out of it
Yeah,
because you don't know
yeah,
what it's going to look like. And here's the thing, it's detrimental to what you're up to say when is my next binge. What can
absolutely.
you create that says my next binge is never,
Yeah,
right? What the and because it's a way you're functioning at a level now that says I still eat sugar. If that if your conversation in your head is still about when's my next binge, then
yes,
clearly you haven't given up the conversation of I don't eat sugar.
right.
And so then the question is, what's your why? Your why's got to be bigger or stronger or more powerful, so so that you are present to that you really don't eat sugar anymore.
Right. And I was listening the other day to Mike Collins from the Sugar Free Man. And I was listening to his videos that he does for the 30-day sugar challenge. And he was talking on there about his why. And he was talking about how you really need to live it and experience it and visualize it. And, like when I think of myself being, sugar free and not having sugar in my life and not worrying about sugar, and um, I'm healthy, I'm fit, I'm happy, I'm at peace. I have all those things going on, and I need to, but the way that I'm thinking about it, it's like, oh, that's then. And what I really need to do is work on that being now. How you live into that, but you have to
Yeah,
live into it as opposed to waiting for it to happen.
right, right. Excellent. All right, so shall we leave our friends with that for now and come back and share something later on in another day or so?
Sounds good. All right, everybody. Work
All
on
right,
being
thanks.
present.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for following us on our transition to ketogenic lifestyle.
And please comment to us about how you feel about binge eating or sugar addiction and using certain terms.
And thank you for subscribing because our subscribers have gone up, and that's so funny. It's so much fun. It's great to watch. We love
Yeah.
you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.